Welcome to the Happier Life Project, the official podcast from the award-winning mental health and wellness app, My Possible Self. Hosted by broadcaster and journalist Gabby Sanderson.
Welcome to the bonus episode of the Happier Life Project podcast, brought to you by the free, award-winning mental health and wellness app, My Possible Self. Okay, let's be honest. How many of us grew up hearing things like, you can't have your pudding until you eat all of your vegetables, or finish what's on your plate, there's starving children in the world? And how many of us, even without realising, have said things like, Mummy's on a diet, so I can't eat that, or don't eat too much, you don't want to get fat like your dad. So today we're going to look at these kind of everyday comments and why they matter so much with Dr Anna Colton, because the way we talk to kids about food, body image and health can shape their entire relationship with eating, for better or worse. Welcome back, Dr Anna.
Thank you.
Thank you for being on the show again this week, and congratulations on the new book, How to Talk to Children About Food.
Thank you.
This is basically the whole inspiration behind today's bonus episode. So I guess I'm just going to shoot from the hip and say, why did you write this book?
So I spent my entire career, so over 20 years now, working with eating disorders, the range of eating disorders, particularly anorexia. And anorexia has the highest mortality rate of any psychiatric illness at 20%, which is huge. And eating disorders generally are dangerous. All of them can kill and do kill. You know, it's not just anorexia that kills, they all do. And once you fall into an eating disorder, the recovery process is, I reckon, the hardest thing that anyone has to do. And I really don't like firefighting unless it's essential. And I feel that when it comes to food, we firefight. We live in a culture that's surrounded by, that is diet culture. The diet culture reigns, really, and rules. And we don't have enough prevention. And I never wanted to write a treatment manual. That was not what I was interested in. I wanted to write something much more broad-based, which is, look, all the things, food is complex. It's a really complex area. There's loads that goes into our relationship with food. There's loads that goes into what we eat and how we talk about it. But if we don't understand that, then we're kind of destined, really, to pass on negative patterns. If we're not aware of them, we're going to pass it on to our kids. It's unavoidable. The only way to prevent that is to do something different, to become aware of the kind of the scripts or the narratives that are running you, to become aware of your own baggage. You've got to know what your baggage is and to address that so that you don't pass it on, because no parent ever goes, it was totally worth it. My daughter's eating disorder or my son's eating disorder was totally worth it. They just go, this is a nightmare. I'm living in hell.
Yeah.
But let's not get there. So I wanted to write something that was a much more prevention based. I suppose that would be my mission. If I could change anything, I would change the whole culture around food and just this massive prevention effort. We will never prevent all eating disorders. It is just not possible, right? Because they're multifactorial and it's not just about the messaging. But I think that there is a possibility to prevent a lot of the disordered eating that we see in particular. And disordered eating is a real risk factor for an eating disorder.
Well, and just kind of, not picking up from, but in the previous episode earlier this week, we talked about life scripts. So innocent comments like, you can't have your pudding until you finish all the vegetables on your plate. It's the subliminal messages underneath that, right? Where this is where, if we start to sort of look into what's going on, veggies, not so tasty, sugar, a reward.
Yeah, which is literally the opposite of what anyone wants.
Yeah.
You set out, no parent says, I really want my kids not to like vegetables. And no adult goes, I wish I liked sugar more than vegetables.
Yeah.
They're just like, that's just like not how the world works.
Yeah.
So when we say finish your veg, you can't have your pudding, or you have to eat, you know, all of your main, or there's no dessert, what you're doing is you're going, the main is not nice, the dessert is more special, and you set up a food hierarchy. But you set up the food hierarchy that you don't want.
What would be
rather than the food hierarchy that you do?
Because I think that like it's meant with good intentions, isn't it? You're trying to get you
Oh,
to
yeah.
eat damn veggies.
Oh, yeah, it's totally met with good intentions, but actually, what we need to do, and it is really hard. So, I'm going to say it and I'm going to make it sound super easy. And I'm acknowledging in advance that it's super hard. We need to be neutral in our approach to food. And that means that no food is good, no food is bad, no food is better, no food is worse. Food is food, sweets are food, chocolate's food, broccoli is food, courgette's food, chicken's food. It's all food.
Yeah.
Within that, of course, there are foods that you should eat less frequently, ideally, and foods that you should eat more frequently. But when you're talking to your children, you be specific about that. The carrots, they have a lot of, I think it's vitamin A, always get it muddled. The
Yeah.
carrots have a lot of vitamin A. That's really good for our sight. So it's really great to eat carrots. Not carrots are good or carrots are healthy. Because when you say they're good or they're healthy, it's literally meaningless. What does that mean? What does it mean if a food is good? I have no idea. What does it mean if a food is healthy? I know what people think it means, but it doesn't tell your child anything. It's basically the equivalent of good, because unhealthy is certainly the equivalent of bad.
Mm.
So be descriptive, be specific. If you insist on talking about what's in food, be descriptive and be specific about it and bin all pejorative language. But ideally, you can say, yeah, we're gonna, you know what, I've made apple crumble tonight, or we've got apple crumble or chocolate mousse tonight, or actually we don't have any tonight, we'll have it another day this week. That's it. If you choose to serve pudding, if that's what you want to call it, if you choose to serve it, serve it. Don't make it conditional, just serve it. If you choose not to serve it, don't serve it. If your kids are young enough that you portion their food, give them a little bit. You choose their portion, right? It doesn't actually need to be discussed.
Mm. What about, because there's plenty of them, picky eaters and fussy eaters? I mean, sometimes I think this is linked. Well, I know from in my family, there's children with autism, and it's a textual thing. I think that's more challenging, but then so maybe that's two questions. If we start with the picky fussy eaters first,
Mhm.
and maybe it's just a bit stubbornness as well, and kids sort of trying to suss out how far they can push their parents. What do we do
Look,
there?
look, all of us probably have gone through a fussier phase. It is really normal. It's part of normal childhood development between about 18 months and 3, on the whole, that your child who, when they wean, they all sorts of everything, suddenly gets really picky. It's
Mm,
normal.
yeah.
So don't sweat it. And it's really hard to say to a parent, you know what, just don't worry, they'll come back. And it's normal because they're learning about, having choice. Their tastes change. It takes a long time to develop a taste for a new flavor. It's not just to try it once. And I'm sure you've noticed over the course of your life, your tastes have changed, and some things you used to really not like, you now like, and vice versa. Certainly, that's the case for me. So taste changes, it develops, it evolves. What makes picky or fussy eating worse is anxiety, stress, tension, and arguments.
Mm,
So you need to get rid of those if you want to resolve it, because if a child knows that mummy is super stressed or daddy is super stressed because they're not eating it, they might make themselves eat it because they don't like the stress, or they might just go, I can't eat anything. It's just too stressful. And we know that when we're anxious, it does affect our appetite. It makes us feel sick. It affects our stomach, and so it becomes a vicious cycle. With the neurodivergence, yes, there is often a sensory component and it can be trickier. But, and this is the but, you got to go with where your kid is at, because if you dig your heels in and you have a fight, things get worse always. Like always. They might eat that food once, but you will never get them to a place where they actually like it and want to eat it for the rest of their lives. And what you want is that they want to eat their courgettes and their broccoli for the rest of their lives, that they like it, that they choose it, right? Not that you're bribed or cajoled or forced. So
yeah.
that never works. No matter what the reason for picky eating, if you have to do something more formal, it will come down to exposure. The art is in how you do the exposure.
Okay.
And that's where you finesse it, is how you do it, how long it takes, the patience you have, whether you really have to start just by even looking at it. Because some kids, if they can't even look at it, if it's a food aversion, even looking at a picture of it is exposure. And then you might get to a place where it can be on the table. That might be your goal. It can be on the table, and that is a massive win. And that might take a few weeks. Whereas kids who can have it on the table and who can touch it and who can smell it, then your goal is very different. It is probably getting to a place where they can taste it. So everything has to be individualized. And as I say, the finesse is in how you do the exposure. The exposure is always going to be relevant if and necessary if you have to be on that path.
Mm. So then what if a parent has their own unhealthy relationship with food? I don't know, how do they model a good relationship in front of their kids at the very
Like it's really hard. I mean, there's loads. I should, to plug my own book, my book is an awful lot about that.
yeah.
It's not a manual for how to feed your kids. It's how to work out your stuff,
Mm.
how to identify where your difficulties with food came from, and how to decide what you want to pass on to your kids so you're not accidentally setting them up with a bad relationship with food. That is the book. And again, it starts with awareness. What is my issue? Where did it come from? Do I want to address it? Now, you can model what you model, but ideally just don't model any anxiety around the food if possible. You can say I'm a bit fussy and I don't really like this. You can be transparent about it if you need to be, but own it, take responsibility, work on it.
What are some of the signs parents should look out for that might suggest their child is developing an unhealthy relationship with food or their body?
Okay, so stress, tears around meal times, not wanting to, looking anxious, getting angry, running away, hiding food, stealing food, not wanting to go out because of the way your body looks, putting on baggy jumpers or baggy clothes, getting really addicted to the gym. We're seeing a lot of that in particularly teenage boys wanting to bulk, actually just verbalizing they don't like their body, saying that someone at school's made a comment and then feeling uncomfortable. And the other things to look out for in terms of your teenagers, because I started with more, I didn't do that very well, but with younger children, again, there's the hiding food, there's cutting out food groups. When your kids are old enough, cutting out food groups is a big red flag. Skipping meals, you may not know, but skipping meals, lunches coming home uneaten, being irritable, tearful, low in mood, losing weight, gaining weight. Yeah. I mean, it can really be a whole range of things. If you notice food's going missing from the cupboards,
Yeah.
all sorts of things.
Are you an advocate for families sitting and enjoying a meal
Oh my God, 100%. 100%.
Is a thing, 100%.
100%, because what you want to do is take the focus off the food and make the focus on the bonding. If everybody enjoys coming to the table, in time, kids will eat. If the mealtime is fraught, no one wants to come to the table. No one wants to eat. I mean, I'm sure you have sat in a mealtime where people are cross with each other. It's hideous. You want to get the hell out, right? That's the same for kids.
Yeah.
But when you're having a lovely time, sharing the food, laughing, chatting, joking, you want to be there. So that's the focus. The focus is not the food. The focus is the enjoyment of the being together, the connection, the bonding, the stories, the fun, the sharing.
Yeah. Finally, what is your hope from this book? Like, what do you hope parents and carers will take away from it?
Oh my God, I hope the book changes the world. But a much more realistic expectation is that they read it and they go, oh, wow, okay, this is really interesting. I hadn't realized I did so many of these things. And actually, I don't want to perpetuate these beliefs for my kids. I want to give them a different message. And I'm going to go out and do that. I also hope that for parents whose children are slipping into disordered eating and eating disorders, they go, this is super useful. It gave me the signs and the symptoms and the tools to know how to deal with it.
Amazing stuff. Thank you so much, Dr. Anna. Super appreciate your time.
Thank you.
How to Talk to Children About Food, a new approach to managing food, feelings, fussiness and eating disorders for ages 0 to 16 is out now. So to find more on you, it's www.dranna.co.uk. That's the website. And on Instagram, TikTok and LinkedIn, it's Dr. Anna Colton. Thank you again, Dr. Anna.
Thank you so much.
Hello, friends. It's Gabby back with you. If you are suffering with your mental health, there is a crisis button on the My Possible Self app, which will signpost you to the correct information for immediate expert advice. Those of you who are listening on one of the podcast platforms, the My Possible Self app is completely free to download. You can access all of the content, so you don't need to worry about it costing you anything. If you found this episode helpful, please do subscribe and leave a review and share it with your friends. And to find and follow us on social media, we are most active on Instagram, and you can find us at My Possible Self. and I've been at Radio Gabby. Until the next one, do take care. Bye for now.